Wheatly, and he was a forest ranger at Rendezvous Mountain State Forest. And guess what? There is no longer a Rendezvous Mountain Educational State Forest. It is now Rendezvous Mountain State Park. So, as well as Stone Mountain, we have 2 state parks in this county now.
Very cool.
But Calvin and I still love the forest, and Calvin and I still love teaching. And today we're going to teach you something. What do you think we're going to teach you?
About animals
Animals.
trees.
We're going to teach you about cows and horses and that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah. I'm a baby horse.
No, we're going to teach you about wildlife. Now the animals that we talked about, horses and cows and that kind of stuff, are domesticated. But wildlife is what? Wild animals. That's a good definition of it. And so we're going to teach you about wildlife. So besides being at the Ed McGee Center, where are you? Where's this? Woods. And we call woods what else besides woods?
Forest.
Forest. All right. This is a forest, and it's a forest blank. We're going to talk about that right now. Now, look up here. What's up there?
Trees.
What's past the trees?
Sun.
The sun. Do you have to work to get that sunlight?
No.
As long as it's not cloudy, you're going to get that sunlight, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to take the sunlight as a given. Now, breathe. What'd you breathe? Did I really have to tell you to breathe?
No.
You were already breathing, weren't you?
Yeah.
So breath and air is a given. But now, these 4 things, plants don't really have to work to get it, but humans and animals have to work to get this. And it starts with those 4 things. So what do you think those 4 things are? Nope, it's already there. What else? What do you have to have every day?
Growth. Food.
Food. What else?
Water.
Water. What else? Your house.
Shelter.
What is it? Shelter. Food, water, shelter, and do this. No. What don't you have?
Space.
Food, water, shelter, and space. If I take that food, that water, and that shelter and space, and I put it here in this forest, I have a forest. What? Forest blank. Starts with H. A.
I think ecosystems have
B.
Habitat.
I have a forest habitat. And this is a forest habitat. Now in this forest habitat, we have 3 layers. We have the understory, the middle story, and the canopy. Now, what do you think might live in the understory?
Like ants, bugs, frogs, maybe.
Ants, frogs, that kind of stuff. What else?
Like worms.
Mice, worms. What do you think might live in the middle story?
Squirrel.
What else?
Sometimes. Birds.
Probably squirrels, songbirds. And the very top, what do you think lives up there? Hawks and owls. Now, do you think that the mouse that's on the ground is going to eat that owl?
No.
Do you think that owl will eat that mouse?
Yes.
Okay, and we call that a predator-prey relationship. The animals are able to live in this forest at different levels, and they have different food requirements, don't they?
Yeah.
All right. So they have different food requirements, so they're able to get along. And animals are able to live there because they have what we call animal adaptations. And so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some of the animals and some of the adaptations.
There's a wolf. What I think is a lion. Nobody.
Okay, be ready to listen. Thank you.
All right, this animal is found along streams.
Is it an amoeba?
Very seldom will you find it. Very seldom will you find it in a pond, but you might. And why you wouldn't find it in a pond is because it likes to do something. Now, what do you think this animal eats?
It doesn't fit.
It's a beaver. What do you think it eats?
Fish.
Oh, I like that. think it is?
What do you think it eats? Huh?
What do you think it eats,
It's a beaver. What do you think it eats?
No.
It eats the bark of the tree, but it doesn't actually eat the tree. It gets the plant sugars out of that bark. It has real long teeth, and I wish I had a skull to show you, but it has to constantly gnaw, because if it doesn't, its teeth would grow back into its skull and kill it.
Is it alive?
Now, look,
Can I take a shotgun?
look at the fur. See how shiny the fur is?
Yeah.
Why do you think it's shiny? It has natural oils in its skin, which it makes it waterproof. Now, once it tears the tree down or chews the tree down, it eats the bark, then it does something with the rest of the tree, and what does it do?
Make a den.
It makes a dam. So, in the animal kingdom, we have 3 categories of animals. We have herbivore, which a beaver is, a carnivore, which is a meat eater, and we have an omnivore, which eats it all. Now, once the beaver cuts the tree down, he builds his lodge, and he can use this to pack the mud. He can use it as a rudder, or he can use it to swim with. And he also uses it for something else.
Like a platypus.
Now you can imagine what that sounds like on water. And why does he do that?
To get the other people's attention.
He wants the other beaver. Now, in the 1800s, the beaver became almost extinct. And it was because of this. What kind of hat?
Oh, it's like a beaver skin hat.
Tall hat, all right. What else would we call that? Abraham Lincoln wore one.
A top hat.
Aha, it's just a top hat. The beaver fur, as you can see, was very thick. So, they used that to make their top hats, and it was also waterproof. Now, this one. See how shiny its fur is?
Yeah.
Waterproof again.
Is that
And what do you think this is?
a river otter?
Say that out loud.
River otter?
It's a river otter, not a sea otter, which they are sea otters, but this is a river otter. Now, would you find one here in Wilkes County?
Yeah. No, you'd find one in Boone, though.
Would you find one in Ashe County?
I would think so.
Say like on the New River.
Yeah.
You could find them here in Wilkes County. I don't know where. I've never seen one, but I know they're here. And what do you think this animal eats? He would eat minnows, small fish. What else? Anybody else? Now I like participation, so hop in there. And
Is it berries?
okay, probably wouldn't eat berries. It would eat fish. What else?
A bear?
No, smaller animals.
I have a question.
What?
Why does it have its face still?
Why does it have its face still? If you went to college, this would be called a study pelt, and we usually leave all the features on it, including the claws and the paws and the tail. We leave all that. We don't take them off. And if we can, we stave the skull too. But now, this animal would eat minnows, crayfish or crawfish, frogs. And does anybody know what a freshwater mussel is?
Wait, yeah.
Like a
Freshwater mussel is like a freshwater clam, but they're smaller. He will take a rock, crush it, and eat the stuff out of it.
Oh, I've
So-
seen that.
So yeah,
He
so
does like
yeah, so this animal is a what?
utter.
What does it eat?
Carnivore.
Does
It's
it
a
eat all
carnivore.
meat? So
It's a meat eater. What do you think this is?
A squirrel.
When Calvin and I were young boys, you could set a trap, you could catch this animal,
Mongoose.
and you could take it to Lowe's, hide and fur, or fur metal, hide and metal. You could take it there, and you could probably get pretty good money out of it.
Mongoose.
Now,
It's a ferret.
take about 10 or 12 of them, and you can make a stove. Take about 20, 25 of them, you can make a cake. Take about 50 of them, you can make that kind of coat, and take 100 of them, you can make that coat. What do you think it is?
Sphinx.
Say that?
Sphinx.
Mink? Well, it's close. Mink?
I meant.
Okay, mink. This is a mink.
There you go.
And this animal, and this animal, and this animal are all cousins. What do you think this one is?
Possum.
What do you think this one eats?
What does it eat? What does it eat?
Chipmunk, because it has the stripes down its back.
It would eat mice,
Rat?
other small animals,
Ferret?
and it's a cousin of the ferret. It primarily is a carnivore.
Still in it.
Mm-hmm. Now,
Still meat?
this one. See how shiny the fur is? What do you think this one is?
A possum. That is a water.
No?
A woodchuck. Oh wait, you already said beaver. Sorry.
No?
Platypus. I just
Huh?
remember.
It's kind of waterproof, yeah.
Groundhog.
Okay, when I was a young boy, along the streams on my grandfather's farm, you would find this animal and it would sneak in the fields and steal his corn. But today you would probably find this animal maybe along streams, but more likely you would find it in a lake where it's built a home and burrowed in the ground. What do you think it is?
Possum.
No?
A groundhog.
All right, this is, look what the tail looks like. What does the tail remind you of?
Snakes.
A groundhog.
A rat, all right. This is a muskrat, and it primarily is an herbivore.
Herbivore, so it eats plants.
Oh, that's nice.
Isn't that cool?
We have two of this species in North Carolina. And what do you think it is?
Chipmunk.
This is the family which the mink and the skunk is. This is a
Rodent.
weasel.
Weasel. I was going to say
Now,
weasel.
Look at the color of this. See that reddish tint? The other weasel is about the size of a small mouse, and it is called the least weasel. See this one? This is a long-tailed weasel. Now, pound for pound, if this weasel was as big as you, or even as big as a house cat, you would have to be scared of it, because it likes to kill its prey. And it can bring down something probably 5-6 times bigger than it is. It can kill a chicken,
Oh my God.
and guess what it does when it kills the animal?
It sucks out the inside.
It cuts its throat and eats the whole animal, but it likes the blood. And what do you think this is?
A long-tailed weasel.
Yeah, but what?
Oh.
Is it a omnivore or carnivore?
Carnivore. What is the animal? What's the animal? It's a woodpecker.
That animal?
It's a wood.
What was that called?
Weasel.
Weasel.
Oh.
Weasel.
What is this?
A fox.
It's a fox? What kind of fox do you think it is?
No.
Red fox? No.
Red tail.
Wilkesboro. No. Is it a west? Yep.
Listen. I don't know.
Well, they're both red, right?
Yeah.
Is it both red foxes?
Yeah.
No. Well, one's a red fox and one's a gray fox.
Oh.
Well, look at the fur, you'd say right off the bat, this is a gray fox.
Yeah.
And you would be right.
Can you describe how it feels like?
Soft like a dog.
And there's a way you can tell.
Like a husky?
How do you guess you can tell?
Oh.
Look at the tip of that tail. What color is that tail?
Brown. Black.
Black. What is the color of this tip? What-
Kind of blackish.
No, right there. What color is that?
White.
White. The red fox has the white tail. The gray fox has the black tail.
I can identify
In
him.
this area,
So the red fox has
are they native to this area?
But it's
Well, the gray fox can do something the red fox can't. And the gray fox is native to this area. And guess what a gray fox can do that a red fox can't do?
a common tree.
Can climb trees. So, you're a settler, you're here, and you want to go fox hunting. And you chase the gray fox, and he scoots up a tree. And now you can't get him. But the red fox can't climb trees. So they brought him over from Europe, especially to hunting. Now, you find the gray fox in the woods, and you'll find the red fox out there in the fields, most likely. And they are what? Omnivore, carnivore, or herbivore?
Omnivore? Carnivore?
They would probably be classified by somebody in the Wildlife Commission as a carnivore.
Oh yeah, I got it
But
right.
they will eat grapes and apples and other stuff if the food source is available.
So they're omnivore.
So
Sometimes.
they're classified probably as a carnivore,
Sometimes.
but they probably are.
Sometimes they eat mostly meat.
Now this animal,
Carnivores. Sometimes.
what is it? Listen, these animals, the foxes and this one is in the canine family.
Is it a coyote?
And what do you think it is?
A coyote.
It's a coyote, and are coyotes native to here?
Yeah.
Probably back in the 1800s you would have found them.
I saw
Then they
a coyote.
disappeared, found them out west, and then as something built back up, they started making a comeback. And what started building back up? Something that people like to hunt. Deer. They, probably because of the population of deer family just came back. Now, what kind of animal is this? Omnivore? Carnivore? Or
Carnivore.
okay, it's also classified as a carnivore, but it probably also does also eat some vegetation or some plant life. And Calvin said he saw an article about the farmers out west were having problems keeping them out of their watermelon patch.
There was a coyote in my neighborhood.
That's scary.
And the dogs bark. I have a scary story about
I'm
a
gonna
coyote.
throw it in at this point. What do you think this is?
A raccoon.
Bobcat.
Okay, short tail. It's a bobcat.
Yeah,
Has
it's
a
a
good
bobcat.
sense of smell, good sense of hearing, and look at those feet. Those feet are large and padded, and it can creep on its prey silently. And what do you think it eats?
It probably eats like mice.
Mice, all right. So what is it?
It can attack carnivore.
It's a carnivore. And this animal, probably find it around rock cliffs, caves, stuff like that, and all. And you can find it here in North Carolina. If you hear it in the woods, you'll know it at night, in the evenings. It sounds like a baby crying or a woman screaming. And you find these also out in New Mexico and places like that.
Well, like the big
bobcat.
The others were canine. What family is this?
The cat.
Starts with F.
The fire.
Feline. Very good. What's this animal? Skunk. It is in the weasel family. And would you like to run across this animal?
No.
Do you want your cat or your dog to get a hold of this animal? Why not?
Because it stinks. It's cut upon.
This animal likes insects. Probably would even eat a mouse or something like that. But guess what its favorite food is?
Berries.
Have you ever looked in the ground and seen where a yellow jacket's nest has been dug up?
Yeah.
It has real sharp claws. It will back up, spray the nest, and then it will dig the nest out, and it will eat a lot of young larvae before they turn into real bees. You've seen the white larva in a bee's nest? It will eat that. And this one is primarily a
So
carnivore.
their favorite food is a larva.
from the, do you say yellow jackets?
Now this animal is underestimated.
It's a possum.
When you see it on the side of the road, it probably looks like that. It's the opossum. But the opossum is kind of unusual. It's our only North American blank, and that starts with M. And do you guess? Can you guess what it is? Huh?
Mammal?
No, it's not a mammal. Can you guess what it is? Fake joey. Fake kangaroo.
Ooh.
Australia.
Mars.
And what does a kangaroo have that's kind of unusual?
A pouch.
Okay, it has a pouch.
Oh, it's a marsupial.
It's a marsupial, and all the females have the pouches. Some of the males might. It's rare, but they could. Some of them do have it.
I think I realized
And it can have between 8 and 22 babies.
Wow.
Now the babies will hatch out in the pouch. They will stay there till about 6 to 8 months. Then they emerge, and they will ride on the mama's back.
Aw.
See that white fur, how stiff it is? Well, look how soft that is. Now, look at this. What do you notice that's unusual about that?
It
has
looks like hands.
That's actual.
Looks like hands. It has opposable thumbs. It can lift garbage can lids. It can let itself out of cages, and if you put them in and you don't lock the door. And I know that for a fact. Don't I, Calvin? We had 2 that we tried raising. Every day they would let themselves out of the cage. They would run across my desk.
Oh my.
Very seldomly, Calvin's in their desk, but my desk. And then we would find them behind a cabinet. And we had to get them and put them back in the cage every day. So we finally took them and turned them loose up at Grandfather Mountain at their habitat. But it has these paws, which has little tiny suction cups on them, which enables it to hold on to limbs. And then look at the tail.
That looks like a
Feel feel this tail this way.
Nope.
Go up, gut and feel it.
How does it
Just get,
Oh yeah.
now on a live one, it's a lot more
Hair
active
on it.
because they're live.
Yeah.
But this is almost like Velcros, and it can hang off of a tree. It can reach, get limbs, but it also
Velcro.
has its babies hanging on its back.
Wow.
Now,
Busy.
so that's kind of unusual. Now, what do you think this animal eats?
It probably eats
Insects? Trash? Insects?
Probably 100 years ago, this may have been a carnivore. But over the years, something's happened. It has turned and adapted. It is turned into a scavenger. And what does scavengers eat?
Scavengers eat like leftovers of like if there was like a dead deal and it still has some meat left over.
You'll find them on the side of the road and on the road where they've been killed because they're eating other animals. But they will also get into your garbage. They will eat your cat food. So they are now a what?
Scavenger.
Scavenger, but what do they eat?
Carnivores.
No,
I guess with everything.
they're
Omnivore?
omnivores now. So, what, opportunistic feeders.
Oh, I like that. We need to add that
This
to our
little
science notebook.
What is it? You're driving down 321 or 421 or maybe even on the interstate, and you'll see this little rascal standing on the side of the road, and he's got his
Groundhog.
standing up looking like that.
It's a groundhog.
This is a woodchuck, groundhog, 10 minutes, 9, or whistle pig. All right. And what do you think it eats? Vegetation. It will eat your garden. It'll chew it all the way down to just that tall. And it is a herbivore.
Herbivore.
Now, this animal.
Raccoon.
What is this?
Raccoon. And
A raccoon.
it has
When I was a young boy, we would find this animal in the forest along stream banks. And guess what it ate in those days?
Trash.
It ate fish, crayfish, frogs, and that kind of stuff. Nowadays, it also has claws that looks a lot like the possum. It has a kind of opposable thumbs. And what do you think this animal eats now?
Scavenger.
It's a scavenger. It's called the midnight raider or the midnight bandit. And it eats anything it can. But again, one time it was probably a carnivore. A carnivore. And see, those paws are almost like hands.
Yeah.
A cage
What's this?
Oh, it's a big animal.
What kind of deer? The settlers first started out around Virginia, and they saw the flash of that. What's that flash look like?
A doe.
No, what does the flash look like? A flash of what? White? So they called it the Virginia white-tailed deer. Now the settlers depended on this deer for food. A lot of them didn't have wood floors, so they could put it down on the floor and make a rug. And then they could also use it for a blanket or a comforter.
Nice.
That's why hunting
So they depended on the meat, they depended on that animal for a lot of things. But this, they could tan the hide out and they could turn it into this. And they might go to the trading post. And they would take this to the trading post and they would say, here's a hide, what will you give me for it? And guess what they told them?
25 cents.
No.
1 cent.
No.
$1.
$1. What do you call a dollar? A what? A buck. This,
What would it be?
they would give him $1. They would give him a buck. And this is, see how soft the inside is? See how tough the outside is? Have you ever heard of a buck skin?
Yeah.
This is buckskin pants, coat, or shirt, and it got its name from being worth a buck.
People make cubes out of it.
Now, we're going to get to my favorite animal. Rendezvous, I tried for years to get Rendezvous turned into a bear sanctuary. I wanted to see bears in the wild. As far as from here to the bus.
They have some at
Not as far as from here to you. But guess what? I never did in my 24-year career up there. I never did see one in the wild. Guess what that rascal done? The other ranger, Melvin Pruitt, guess what he done? They saw him in the wild.
I've seen one in the wild before.
The only thing that would have completed my career and made me happy would have been to have seen one in the wild. Now I've seen them in cages. I've seen them at Grandfather's Mountain climbing the trees. I watched the cubs do it. I love this animal. Well, they finally, after we left, turned it into a bear sanctuary. So now, after saying all that, can you guess what my favorite animal is?
Bear.
The grizzly bear?
What kind of bear?
Is it a black bear? Yes.
Imagine this being 6 feet tall, female, 300 pounds, and look at those claws.
Oh, those look scary.
Now, look at this. What do you notice about the nose?
It looks like my dog.
Good sinuses. What do you notice about the ear? Good hearing. What do you notice about the eyes?
Good eyesight.
Look how big the eyes are.
Oh, they're tiny.
And look where they're pointed.
They're not that
Doesn't have the best eyesight. It has a good sense of smell, good sense of hearing.
I want to see
What does teeth feel like?
Is that a bear skull? Is that an actual bear skull? No.
That looks like a deal.
Is that a dog?
You'll tell us about it.
Is that a lion?
This is a bear. Now, look at the teeth. For cutting and tearing meat
Is that real?
and grinding stuff, good sense of smell. This would be its cavities for its hearing sounding board would be. But then look at the eyes. Why do you think it doesn't need the best eyesight?
Because it already has good smelling.
Because it can smell you and hear you before you see it or you hear it. It'll run and it'll hide. Now, do you think you really have to worry about being attacked by a black bear?
No.
They're friendly.
Well, they're not friendly. They're very elusive and they don't like being around people. But
Me.
But you probably wouldn't have to worry about the bear attacking you except for 2 cases.
You mess with its cubs.
You get between it and its cub, or you mess with its cub, you've got problems. And there's another one. Food. People like to feed the bear. And in places like Great Smoky Mountains National Park and Cage Cove, people have fed the bear. Calvin, tell me that little story. Tell me that little story about the bear at Cage Cove.
Tell us now.
Opening the door.
Yeah, Gatlinburg.
Yeah, that's Cage Cove.
Yeah, we were standing up on our deck at our cabin. We were standing, we was way up in the air, kind of, and we looked down the street, and all of a sudden we start seeing a few bears coming out in the street. Well, this one bear comes up out of the hill into the street. It walks up to this car. Well, it walks to the back door on the right side. It opens up the door, looks in it, doesn't see anything that it likes, so it shuts the door. Goes to the front door, opens the door up with his paw, looks in there, doesn't see anything he likes, so he shuts the door again. Walks around to the other side, back door, opens up the door, and evidently he sees something that he likes. He reaches in there and gets out a bag, looks like a McDonald's bag or something, shuts the door back, and proceeds off back into the woods.
Now, if you got between the bear and your car, you would have trouble.
Yeah.
Now, if you do run into a black bear, what should you do?
Kill it.
Don't
Nope.
run. Don't run.
No.
You can't kill it.
Play dead or walk
Nope,
away slowly.
you can't kill it. You could run, but a bear can run for over a mile at 30 miles an hour and still have stamina. Could you?
No.
Okay. And a bear can climb a tree faster than you could.
Oh.
So you can't run and you can't climb a tree. So what should you do?
Fake
Walk
dead.
slowly. Play dead or walk away.
If you play dead,
Make yourself as large as you can, make a lot of noise, and back away from the black bear. Now, if it's a grizzly bear, you don't do that. A grizzly bear likes to kill its prey. So, lay down, try to stay quiet, and try to stay calm. It might scratch you or maul you, it might even bite you. But because it likes to kill its prey, your best bet is to play dead. Okay, well, we'll let you go. If you want to, you can come by here and walk and look at the animal.